Good Monday. Welcome in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, coming to you from the Lee Company studio and parts unknown. I'm Chris
Cadillac, Michigan.
Cadillac.
Oh,
well.
Like
the home
Cornell Williams, Michigan. Yeah.
Cadillac, Michigan, and from the home of the Cadillac Lyric right here in Murray County. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship here as we are getting ready on this Monday to talk a little bit about the weekend of sports. There was a ton of craziness all weekend long, whether it be in the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, or any other sport. There's a ton to get to today, and we have plenty of topics to broach, Mo. But how was your trip up?
Well, once I got out of Nashville, everything was flying. My flight got canceled. Not canceled. Got delayed by about 30 minutes, which made me a little made my connector a little dicey. But I got lucky and got there, and so all was good. And went and watched a little youth soccer yesterday afternoon once I got into town and braved the wind. Had to come and thaw out, but yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah,
early morning though. It was an early morning that really took its toll on me late yesterday. So,
you were struggling.
You know I don't do early well. So
yeah, the struggling that the early part is okay most of the time. It's what do I do when I get tired when I'm not normally tired, and
right.
how does that work out on the backside?
Yeah, it didn't work out well yesterday, but today's better. We're doing
It was a
well.
little chilly down here on Saturday, so
yeah.
I understand. I feel you. Well, glad that you guys can join us. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to getting you all of the reaction on this Monday Mirror edition of Main Street Sports Today. We had a very kind of a light schedule over the weekend. When you factor in that, two of our football teams played midweek, and then you factor in some Thursday night football high school games, the fact that district volleyball tournaments are wrapping up, region tournaments are starting to get underway, but not all at the same time. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of things going on right now, Mo.
And I think fall break kind of figures into that a little bit too.
And fall break certainly figures into it. So, and fall breaks will be happening, last week, this upcoming
This week.
week, and there's just a lot to get to. So let's dive into the weekend's results and today's schedule, and we'll do that on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
The Monday Rundown is brought to you by Zion Christian Academy. ZCA offers a faith-based, Christ-centered education in Murray County. Give them a call today at 931-388-5831 or visit zioneagles.org to schedule your appointment today. Zion Christian Academy, prepared for college, equipped for purpose.
Football action from Friday. Henry County edges Beach in overtime 46-45. It was Knox Catholic 47, Brentwood Academy 42. Brentwood down Centennial 28-21, and Donaldson Christian was a 35-0 winner over Clarksville Academy. West Creek blanked Clarksville Northeast 43-0, and Davidson Academy was a 56-0 winner over Webb School. Continuing the shutouts was Mount Pleasant 34, East Hickman 0. Providence Christian gets a big win over Ezel Harding and secures a playoff berth in their first year of 11-man play, 16-9 over Ezel Harding. Innsworth, 17-10 winners over Father Ryan. Columbia gets an 18-6 win against Franklin County in a wild one. Franklin Road Academy 61, Battleground Academy 20. Grace Franklin blanks Whites Creek 37-0. Pearl Cone the same to Greenbrier 35-0. Giles County downs Grundy County 56-6, and Independence was a 31-7 winner over Fairview. Nolensville blanks Lawson 27-0. Harpeth 28-0 over Joe Burns. Clarksville 62, Kirkwood 6. Marshall County a 58-6 winner over Montgomery Central, and Montgomery Bell Academy was a 14-6 winner over Lipscomb Academy. Columbia Academy takes down Nashville Christian 27-21, and Mo had coverage on MainStreetMurray.com. Shelbyville down Spring Hill 44-23, Sycamore 41, Cheatham County 15. Tennessee Heat a 62-6 winner over Zion Christian in an 8-man play. And finally, White House Heritage was a 41-6 winner over Stewart County. Girls soccer, Providence Christian down Good Pasture 4-0.
In college football action of area interest, Florida with a 38-14 win over visiting Vanderbilt. Tennessee State went down to Atlanta and defeated Kennesaw State 27-20. Big win for the Tigers there. And Cumberland University of Lebanon with a 21-17 win over University of the Cumberlands of Williamsburg, Kentucky. NFL action, Indianapolis 23, Tennessee 16. Ugh. Major League Baseball Division Series openers. Texas with a 3-2 win over Baltimore. The Astros with a 6-4 win over the Twins. The Diamondbacks with a 9-run first defeated the Dodgers 11-2, and the Phillies blanked the Braves 3-0. Game 2 yesterday, Texas took a 2-0 lead in that ALDS with an 11-8 win over Baltimore. They'll go home with a 2-0 lead. Minnesota evens that series with a 6-2 win over the Astros. And in WNBA Championship Series action, Las Vegas opens with a 99-82 victory over the New York Liberty.
Today's action in volleyball, Summertown takes on Huntington down in Loretto. That's a 6 o'clock start at the barn. The host, Lady Mustangs, will then host Madison Academic at 7. Girls soccer action.
Hold up. So I'm assuming the championship is at 8 then?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't know.
That would be my guess.
That was my initial thought, but it obviously didn't say that. So
let's see if we can figure out.
I can't imagine that on their Facebook page, the bracket is posted. I can't imagine they would make Huntington or Madison Academic come back. So I'm assuming.
Or Huntington.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine they'd make either of those come back in the event that they were to win. So let's assume that the championship is at 8. Girls soccer, Macon County hosting Greenbrier at 6. Watertown's at home against Stone Memorial, also at 6. At 7, Riverdale's at Blackman. and at times unknown to us, Smyrna at Cookeville, Laverne hosting Lebanon. Monday Night Football action at 7:15 on ABC. The Packers are at the Raiders. Should be fun to watch tonight for you, Mo. With
We'll
no
see.
rooting interest, you just get to watch people react.
Just watch.
And Major League Baseball at 5 o'clock Central. The Phillies at the Braves in Game 2. Game 2 of the other division series, the Diamondbacks are at the Dodgers. Following that, also on TBS, formerly known as Turner Broadcasting System. So that, folks, is your rundown. The Piggly Wiggly. Don't forget to go by and see them for your lunch special. They've got meat, vegetables, cobblers. You can get any of the combination that pleases you. You can also get fresh hand-cut meats daily as well as fresh produce, and it's all cost plus 10% at the register, so make sure to go see them today in Neely's Mill at the Pig. Mo, we have some Hall of Fame inductees announced a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. The Tennessee Football Coaches Association announced its 2023 Hall of Fame inductees via social media platforms earlier, because I've not seen a release. Maybe I just didn't get the release. Who knows? But
I guess that's
apparently,
possible.
It's highly possible. Trust me. Former Greenville coach Kane Ballard, current Montgomery Bell Academy coach Marty Uverard. Big weekend for Marty between this and that win over Lipscomb Academy. Former Jefferson County coach Craig Kissabeth, Bruce Lucier, who was head coach at Oak Ridge and an assistant at Father Ryan, and John Olive, who went out the way everybody wants to go out, retired after he won a state championship a couple of years ago down at Tullahoma. Those five will be in the 2023 induction class for the Tennessee Football Coaches Association's Hall of Fame. And that's a solid class, man. There's a lot of victories between those five.
Yeah, Kane Ballard, first name you mentioned, spent his entire career as a head coach at Greenville, winning 4 state championships in 2010, 2011, 2017, and 2018, going out on top, as you say you would certainly like to do.
Man, I mean, how else? I mean, I've done all I can do here. I'm gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy who, as I'm trying to do some simple math here.
You said there would be no math.
Yeah, I mean, lost.
I can't help you.
Won 122, lost 15. It's about as good as it gets, Mo.
I told you there's a bunch of wins here.
Marty Uverard, 183 wins in his lengthy career.
Yeah, let's see. NBA, Oakland. He was somewhere over east for a while.
Jefferson County.
There we go. Oh,
and
so you got a couple of Jeff County coaches here then.
And one single solid tiny year at Battleground Academy in 2010. So before going over to NBA, where he won a state championship in 14 in Division II 2A, and then 3 region championships, including six appearances in the state championship game that he did not win it. So 7 total, 6 runner-up appearances or finishes. That's pretty good.
He's done a heck of a job. Good job for an ex-Blue Raider. Yeah.
So yeah, this is a great class, man. I mean, as you think about the way that the way that John Olive went out as a state champion. He spent a lot of years at Tullahoma and made them into a perennial power in over there. And so, yeah, it's pretty impressive to look at this.
I tell you what, I'm most impressed with John Olive's career is, the Tullahoma administration, because there was a time that they really dropped off, and a lot of folks were wondering, why John Olive was still there. And then he brought them back from the brink. Going to our trusted ahsfhs.org site, they went 0-10 in both 15 and 16 after going 5-6 in 13 and 14. It's 5-5 and 17, but then 10-3, 7-4, 12-1 in 19, 20, and 20. 18, 19, and 20. And then was it 21 that they won it all?
That's it.
Yeah. So, yeah. Again, kudos to that administration for sticking with him to let him get that thing back to where everybody expected Tullahoma football to be, and kudos to him for delivering on their commitment to him. And again, I can't think of a better way to go out than with a state championship. So, yeah, this is
and you think about his time at Maryville too. He kind of was the one who got the ball rolling downhill.
Kind of set the tone for them as well. Yeah.
I mean, finished his last year there 9-2. Obviously a first round exit, but you got to think about 92 and who was that? That was that the dominant years of Cleveland? Or
there was some Cleveland in there, some Riverdale in there, and they probably did get knocked out by. It probably was Cleveland that got them. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But Clinton.
But that was back when, you only
Maryville wasn't quite Maryville at that point.
Well, no, and like I said, I think that he had a lot to do with kind of getting the ball rolling downhill to getting to putting Maryville where Maryville eventually got to.
Mm-hmm.
So, well done, John Olive. Congrats to him. Great coach, great man, and has been, steady in that program even since he left, and helping to, keep that thing going and keep us informed. John does a great job keeping the media informed about what's going on over there.
And, Chris, Craig Kissabeth is a name that you may not necessarily be familiar with, but he was up at Jefferson County back in the 90s for sure, and maybe in the late 80s. But he had a couple of brothers, Todd and Brent Collins, whose names you might have heard. I think they both played down at Georgia, were high school All-Americans, and went on to distinguished collegiate careers, both of them. And Jeff County back in the 90s was today's Maryville, or the recent Maryville.
From 82 to 94, won all but 2 region championships, including the 87 AAA state title, going 15-0.
Yeah.
Made 4 appearances in the semifinals during that run as well.
They were not a team you wanted to see in Class AAA. And again, this is back when there were 3 classes and public and private played together, and they wore leather helmets and all that stuff.
Yeah, so great career there as well. And all 5 of these guys well deserving of a spot in the Hall of Fame, no question.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, it's a great class, and they are highly deserving, and congrats to them for this honor.
Let's take a break, Mo. Our first break of the day. We've got some MON-STARS to talk about. plenty of folks to get to and celebrate for their performances over the weekend. We'll also talk a little Southeastern Conference football before we get into Major League Baseball. So stick around. Main Street Sports Days presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. We'll be back to the Lee Company studio in just a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well-rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. It is time for the Monday Mirror MON-STARS, where we congratulate and give out a little praise to those who had a great weekend in their respective sports. So we'll start.
Chris,
Mo, you got a MON-STAR to...
I do have a MON-STAR, but before I give you a MON-STAR, I want to give you the answer to a question from the first segment. Nick Quillen, volleyball coach down at Loretto, did confirm that tonight's region championship game is at 8:00 tonight. So
Perfect.
yeah. My first MON-STAR, if you've been keeping up, you might have noticed a little bit of a pattern with my MON-STARs, because I try to give you a high school kid, a college kid, and a pro guy. My MON-STAR had 4 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns, and a 50-yard punt return in a 34-0 road win for Mount Pleasant over at East Hickman on Friday night. My first MON-STAR is Darian Meza.
Mo, what are we doing?
Hmm?
What are we doing?
What do you mean?
Still kicking to this man.
Oh, hey. Kid Hartsfield said, "Never interrupt your enemy in the middle of making a mistake." That's
No
his third.
question there.
That's his third return touchdown in 3 games. And one of his touchdown catches was for 84 yards. So I mean, when you talk about guys that can score from anywhere on the field, this guy's at the top of the list.
Darian Meza is special. No question.
He really
Justin?
is.
Yo, I am going to be a little less diverse in my MON-STARS just because I am.
It's okay.
I love the NFL. A little biased towards it. So my number one is got to be number one in our hearts here in Tennessee. DeAndre Hopkins, 140 yards receiving in a Titans game for the Titans. When has that ever happened?
140 yards and no touchdowns, though. That makes it.
Yeah,
that makes you go, "Yep, he's definitely a Titan."
Yeah, exactly.
You are so Titan if.
Yes, you are so Titan if.
Right.
Yeah, no question. My first one, we're going to go to the collegiate rank. Since we've had a high school and a pro guy, I'll just give you my college guy. And here's a receiver. Jermaine Burton showed up and showed out for the Tide. 9 catches, 197 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and their win at Texas A&M was huge. Probably the most important guy in that win. So Jermaine Burton is my MON-STAR number 1.
Well, if Jermaine Burton is your MON-STAR number 1, then that makes my MON-STAR number 2 a little easier because I'm going with Jalen Milroe. 21 of 33 for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns in said 26-20 win over Texas A&M.
How many yards?
321.
So more than half to the boy. I'm telling you, man, Jermaine Burton and Jalen Milroe, I guess the transfer made them, maybe it took a little longer for them to get
figure it out,
connected. But, as good as that Texas A&M run defense is, obviously Alabama finished with 23 yards rushing in the game. It was going to be put on Milroe's shoulders, and he and that offense figured it out. And kudos to him for that. Justin, number 2.
My number 2 is sort of just an athlete shout-out kind of thing. Jamar Chase, even though I don't like the Bengals, I like him and Burrow. And for him to have that that interview after the game a couple weeks ago and say, "I'm always effing open," and then to
back it up,
targeted 15 times and get 192 yards, I'd say that holds up.
Jamar Chase is like 7-Eleven, huh?
Man, yeah, just proof is in the pudding there.
There you go.
I would agree with you there. I'm going to go down to the high school ranks here, and over in Cheatham County, Hicks Hunter, a sophomore from Sycamore, in the rivalry game against Cheatham County, leads Sycamore with 329 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, that's the second time in 2 weeks that he has set Sycamore's single game rushing yards record. So give him his props. Hicks Hunter, which is a great name, by the way.
Wonder what his middle name is. Wonder if he's Triple H.
I was gonna say, I hope it's like Hunter. I hope it's like Helmsley. Hunter Hurst
Howard,
Helmsley. Hicks. Howard Hicks Hunter is probably that's it. We're gonna give
Triple H. Yeah.
But yeah, big game from him, and to do it in a rivalry against Cheatham County, that's always big. So, well done.
Absolutely. Excuse me.
Number 2.
Number 3. Chicago Bears receiver DJ Moore, 8 catches, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns in the Bears 40-20 win over Washington on Thursday night.
He wasn't even tired. after that. He didn't even look tired.
Because he didn't have to work.
Crazy.
It is. Yeah.
Justin?
Mine is more of a collective for my third. Shout out to the Dolphins defense. They had 7 sacks. I don't really care for the Dolphins as much as the other way, but just envious that their front was able to recognize who QB was and bring him down. And something about Gardner Minshew, man, he just haunts us. Can he go away?
I don't think he's going away.
Like first Jags, now this. All right, I'm
Like,
done.
I think he's. I legitimately think Gardner Minshew is here to stay, and could be bad news for the AFC South. Tomorrow we'll talk with Ben. I almost said Jones.
Oh, not Ben Jones. Ben Arthur.
I don't think we'll be talking to the former Alabama center or
No.
Titans center.
It'd be a
Either
good
one.
get, though. I mean, if you
It'd be
know
great
anybody.
if we could get him.
Yeah. I'd
my
love to know
final
what he
mo-
thinks about the offensive line.
Right, especially Aaron Brewer yesterday. At times played great, at times did not. My third MON-STAR, we're going to go to the WNBA, where Jackie Young had 26 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and was 3 of 5 from behind the arc to lead the Las Vegas Aces to a 99-82 Game 1 win over New York in the WNBA Finals.
Was not expecting WNBA MON-STAR recognition, but I don't hate it.
Well, I'm gonna think outside the box when I can, and I really just wanted to get in, another mention that they got the dub.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Alicia Clark and the Aces getting her done.
There we go.
All right, let's get into some SEC football, Mo. Some questions. And I put this in the tweet because this week felt normal, which is weird because it's been an abnormal season.
I mean, I'm not quite sure how you define it, but okay.
Well, I'm saying, like, you expect Georgia to boat race Kentucky. You expect Alabama to win a tough game in College Station. You expect LSU to beat Missouri, even if it does. The winners and losers were exactly what you expect.
As noted, oh, you're talking about SEC. Never mind. Go ahead.
This is SEC only.
Okay, go ahead.
This felt like a normal SEC week, but within an abnormal season, it's very weird.
Very, very.
So I'm just curious if this is what we should expect from here on out, and maybe the weirdness of the season is over, and we've the cream is rising back to the top as we all expected to start the season, or what?
Maybe it just took some time to get to normalcy. Maybe it took Alabama a little time to figure out that Jalen Milroe is, in fact, their best option at quarterback. Maybe it took Georgia a little time to really figure out who they are. I don't know. It's interesting. And LSU, Missouri, LSU got the win, but it's like I'm fond of saying it's kind of like those old math classes that you had in high school, show your work. I think LSU has still given up more points through 6 games than some of their defenses have in an entire season. So, I guess they're just going to have to outscore people.
The defense is struggling. There's no question there. But when you run for 274 yards, that'll cure some ills.
That will cure some ills, no doubt.
And here's the thing: they didn't turn the ball over. They fumbled twice, but didn't lose either of the two. But I mean, in a game where offense is going to win you the game, you cannot turn the ball over, and that's I mean, that was the difference in the game. Brady Cook threw two interceptions. It's a 10-point ball game, 2 possessions. There you go. That's the difference. And so, maybe look, what to expect in year 2 of this coaching staff and Brian Kelly. I didn't necessarily expect this. I didn't expect them to lose a shootout to Ole Miss. I didn't expect them to win a shootout versus Missouri. I don't think that's at all what anybody expected, particularly with this defensive line and how good they've been and how good they can be. Mm-hmm. But, LSU is going to give folks trouble. You don't think LSU Alabama is going to be fun to watch? Now that Alabama's offense has apparently figured some things out.
Have they figured out enough things to score with LSU?
I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I think Alabama's defense is really good. And so they're probably going to stop LSU a few more times than Ole Miss and Missouri will. So I think that, yes, I think you're going to see a little bit you're going to see Alabama's offense score a little bit more, LSU's offense score a little bit less, but they're going to be about equal, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does make sense.
And so I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. But it's weird because, we're used to saying who's going to score in this game at all because the 2 defenses are so good.
Right.
And so it's an abnormal year, yet we're getting normal results now.
Well, and I've got a friend who is so fond of pointing out whenever you see a 55-49 game in the SEC, how all of a sudden it's great offenses, when if you see that in the Big 12, it's how bad the defenses are. I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, I guess. But
well, I certainly think the LSU defense is not very good. I mean, based on the last 2 weeks, they've not shown much. So I would certainly say that it's a product of bad defense is why Missouri scored 39 points. That's what I'm going to go with. Now, speaking of good defenses, Georgia holds Ray Davis to 59 yards on 15 carries.
That's less than 4 yards a carry. It rounds up, but it's still
3.9 yards a carry. So, 3.99 basically.
Like I said,
1 yard away from 4. But yeah, that's less than 4 yards a carry. Devin Leary, less than 5 yards of completion, though.
That's your guy.
And
right, Mark Stoops?
They've got. Do they have any interest in moving on? Because listen, he's a transfer guy.
He's here for 1 year.
So either he gets it done or he's got to go. It's not like he's going to be back next year so that he needs to learn the offense and get a little bit more. Maybe you're hoping that next year he's a little bit better. No, this is it. So for me, if he's going 10 of 26 for 128 yards, he's got to go.
This was Kentucky's first loss, Chris.
And his stat line every single week looks just like that.
Which means he's won 5 games with stat lines just like that.
Well, he's been the quarterback in 5 wins. I don't know how many games he's won.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm just telling you what they're saying in Lexington. Now, I'm looking at an article
by Matt Hay. Are you looking at their schedule? So no.
I'm looking at an article on Saturday Down South by Matt Hayes where he's got this week's power poll. Number 5, Kentucky. Wildcats had receivers running open all game against Georgia, and QB Devin Leary couldn't deliver the ball. In 3 games against SEC competition, Leary is 34 of 74, 46% for 402 yards. Now, to your point, is that what you want?
Okay, but not just 3 SEC games, Mo. Vanderbilt, Florida, and Georgia.
Okay, so you went from one extreme to the other, though.
One of these is not like the other.
And yet, yeah.
I mean, 2 of the 3 you expect much better than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, as a famous organization is fond of saying, the first step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one.
Has Mark Stoops admitted he has one?
I don't know that he has. I don't know that he's going to.
Well, he better figure it out because Missouri comes in this week, and then he's got Tennessee coming in with an absolute just juggernaut of a front 7.
And Missouri certainly feels like that's a game they can win.
Oh, they feel like they better win it.
So,
I'm telling you, Kentucky better. And a lot of folks are saying things like, Kentucky is still on the rise, and I'm like, no, Kentucky is Kentucky. And listen, a lot of Kentucky fans are making the grave mistake, the Ole Miss mistake, I like to call it. They're not happy with being above average. Not everybody is Georgia. Not everybody can fire Mark Richt and hire Kirby Smart and win national championships. Over the last 25 years, Georgia is the only team in the Southeastern Conference to average 10 wins or more a year. For the last 25 years. They're the only one. Not everybody is Georgia. You're more likely to be Ole Miss if you're Kentucky and you fire the guy who gets you 9-3, 10-2, and occasionally 11-1, and then you go back to being mediocre before maybe you hire somebody who can get you back to 9-3, and then you're happy with it.
Okay, but so on one hand, Kentucky needs to beware of having an overblown
false sense of self-worth.
But on the other hand, we've got a transfer from North Carolina State as QB1 who's not getting it done. What are we going to do? But we're 5-1 with him at quarterback. He might not be winning games, but we're 5-1 with him at quarterback. And we're questioning whether or not we should keep him at quarterback, but we're also preaching, know who you are. Where are we on Kentucky?
Well, here's the thing. I think if you look at Devin Leary's performances, right, over the last 3 games, the SEC games, because that's what you got left. You can't count Ball State and Akron. Sorry, not going to do it. Eastern Kentucky, sorry, doesn't count. He could have went 25 of 25 for 420 yards and 7 touchdowns. I don't care. They don't count. If you're less than 50% completion rate against SEC opponents that, oh, by the way, are Vanderbilt and Florida. So you've got Missouri, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, and 14th ranked and undefeated Louisville coming up. 5-1 or not, that what he's given you in the last 3 games is not good enough to win the majority of the rest of those games. So if you're Mark Stoops and you want to continue being 9-3, you better figure it out because you're not winning 4 games with Devin Leary at quarterback the rest of the way. It ain't happening. And if you ain't careful, you're going to be 6-6 with Mississippi State being the game that gets you bowl eligible.
Or not.
So be careful, and you got to go to Davis Wade Stadium, by the way. So, yeah, he may be 5-1, but at what point do you go, oh, crap, now we've got to make a change, and it's too late? 46% ain't going to get it done. So, again, a lot of folks talking about how Kentucky should have beaten Georgia and all this. Be happy. Be happy where you are. Don't get crazy. I'm not saying that Mark Stoops is going to win national championships. Probably not. But you're a basketball school. Be happy with 9-3. The occasional 10-2. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if he wants to act silly and go with Devin Leary the rest of the way, despite all of the things that we know, and he may go into Missouri. They may take Missouri and take him to the woodshed. He may complete 75% of passes, and maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, man.
History
I mean, we've seen that Missouri secondary,
and
they're
good.
not bad.
So I don't know. I think they're going to run for a lot of yards on Saturday against Missouri, and that's what's going to win the ball game. And Devin Leary's going to be over there going, 11 of 25 for 200 yards, a couple touchdowns, and not turning the ball over, because that's the biggest key. Doesn't turn the ball over.
And maybe, maybe that's the recipe for Kentucky.
Maybe that's the recipe.
Run the hell out of the ball, throw it just enough to keep defenses honest, and don't turn it over.
Yep.
And that didn't work because Ray Davis only had 59 yards on 15 carries.
But here's the thing. If you've got quarterbacks on your roster who can do exactly the same thing.
And are 2 years younger?
Are 2 years younger and also can add to that rushing attack, why would you not use them?
It's the $64,000 question, Chris. Yeah.
Let's take a break. Major League Baseball postseason underway. It's getting crazy. Let's talk about it on the other side of Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Stick around.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. October 9th, 2021, the Braves sandwiched Jorge Soler and Ozzie Albies doubled around a Freddie Freeman base hit for 2 third-inning runs, and Max Fried made them stand up with 6 shutout innings and a 3-0 Game 2 NLDS victory at Milwaukee to even the series. Austin Riley added a 6th-inning solo home run to help back up Fried's 3-hit, 9-strikeout effort, and the bullpen trio of Luke Jackson, Tyler Matzik, and Will Smith closed out the pivotal win. That was this day in Braves history.
Let's repeat that.
Let's.
It is Max Fried Day.
It is Max Fried Day. Happy
Before
Max Fried Day to all who observe.
Yeah. Let's go through the Braves lineup today, Mo.
Okay. See if
Good
it sounds
news.
familiar, huh?
Good news. You're going to know it. Acuna, Albies, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, Darno, Rosario, Arcia, Harris.
Sounds familiar. Sounds real familiar.
And
that new Braves lineup.
Listen, I agree with Brian Snitker that when you get in the box, it doesn't matter what position you're hitting in. You still got to hit. I don't know.
Hitting matters, huh?
I don't know if it changed their approach as hitters. I don't know if it had changed the approach from the pitchers because they maybe didn't have to. Maybe they could pitch around some folks that they wouldn't normally get to pitch around. I don't know. But so I agree with Brian Snicker that, you just got to step in the box and hit no matter where you are in the lineup. Okay, I get that. Especially
when it comes your time to hit.
Especially against the lineup of pitchers that the Phillies threw out in game 1.
Yeah.
I don't want to harp on this because, it's over.
Right.
The Braves struggled mightily, and it's just the facts, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to harp on Saturday because game 2 is tonight, and it's, you got to figure it out.
I would rather focus on tonight than Saturday for sure.
So Max Fried's going tonight. As long as his blister holds up, you feel pretty good about whatever he's got going on and whatever this Braves lineup is doing. Because look, as we've talked about so many times this year, Mo, the Braves, they don't like to hit against your 3, 4, and 5 guys. They want to hit your ace. They want to hit against your number 1s and number 2s. This is the team. That's what they like to do. Because here's the thing. The thing about aces versus non-aces and the 3, 4, 5 guys, the aces feel like they can go toe-to-toe with you, and they're going to throw. The 3, 4, 5 guys, they're nibbling at the edges, and as aggressive as this Braves offense is, they chase a lot when maybe they shouldn't. And so when you get a guy who thinks they can overpower this offense, they can't, and the Braves feast.
It's just so frustrating to watch.
Incredible.
A Ranger Suarez dominate this lineup.
Buddy,
and those guys that came in behind Ranger Suarez.
That I've never heard of. One of them was a rookie.
One was a rookie who had only thrown like 50 pitches at the major league level, if that.
And just looked like,
Cy Young.
Cy Young out there. So Braves struggled Saturday. No need to harp on it. Got to get game 2. You have to get game 2. I mean, you can't have to go to
You can't
Citizens
go to
Bank
Philly down 2-0.
Yeah, no. So
I mean, if you're going to Philly down 2-0, you may as well not go to Philly.
I would agree with that completely. That being said, top 4 seeds are now 1-5 in the division series. What's the deal? What's the problem?
I don't want to whine. I don't want to sound like a whiner. But, we saw this last year as well. I think you almost have to consider expanding the playoffs to 8 teams.
I have 2 options.
Because that layoff is not rewarding the top 2 seeds. You either got to go to 8 and one plays 8, 4 plays 5, etc., etc. Or you got to reseed after the wild card.
I think 2 things. 1 day off for tiebreaker scenarios if necessary.
And 1 day off coming out of the wild card.
I don't know. I would play 1 wild card game, back to 1 wild card, and then I'd play a 7-game NLDS. That would be my preferred option. Because here's the thing, I don't need 3 games. I don't need 2 games of the Phillies and Marlins. I don't need 2 games of the Diamondbacks and whomever. I don't need 3 games of that. I need 1. Give me the best 8 teams with 2 additional games. That's what I want as a fan. I want the best on my screen as often as possible. I don't need a 3-game wild card series. I need a 1-game wild card game. And then give me 7 in the DS. Because there's no chance that Philadelphia beats this team 4 times out of 7. None.
Well, I try not to look at it with only one team's interests in mind.
Well, and I'm not. I'm saying, but there's no reason that the Orioles. I mean, the Rangers are really good. I'm going to give the Rangers credit where credit's due. The Rangers are good.
Yeah.
But the Orioles won 101 games.
And they're getting ready to be at home.
And they're going to sit at the house. Meanwhile, the Astros are 1-1. The Astros last year, by the way, #1 overall seed, did not lose a game till they got to the World Series. And that is the argument that everybody's using against this layoff thing. But I think the Astros doing what they did last year. And exactly, they are the exception.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing works, and maybe it's because they've just got a lot of veterans on that staff. They got a lot of veterans in that locker room. Yordan Alvarez is perhaps the most clutch dude in the history of postseason baseball and since the year 2000. Guy just hits. So,
but I mean, when you see the #1 and the #2 seeds continuously
struggle
eliminated under this format, that's not as simple. I don't think that's baseball.
It shouldn't be.
You're not incentivized in 1 and 2.
I mean, why should the Braves even want to win 100 games? Win just enough to get
when
in.
they didn't, they won the World Series.
That's right. Still won the division that year, though.
They didn't. Were they top 2 that year? I don't even remember.
But they didn't win. No, they were 3. They played in the division series or in the wild card series.
In the wild card. So
it's just it is frustrating. But does Major League Baseball care? No, they just care about ratings. They care about the money. They care about the numbers.
Not as long as Rob Manfred is in charge. No, they do not care.
32 teams. Now, say they expand. Then maybe the 8 teams per league works. I don't know.
Half your teams are in the postseason.
I mean, almost half are in now.
6 of 30. I mean, 12 of 30.
So you're close.
You're close, but 12. What's that? 40%.
I mean, it's a lot more than it used to be. You know, it was 4 from 95 until what? 13.
12, 13, yeah.
So I don't know. Anyway, no matter what, Major League Baseball's got to figure something out. They've got to make some sort of adjustment somewhere.
Well,
Wherever it may be, there needs to be an adjustment made.
Again, the first step to addressing a problem is acknowledging that you have one, and I'm not sure Major League Baseball feels like they do.
I would agree with that. I don't think they think they do.
Right. Which is all that matters.
And look, I said it. If the Braves are going to lose this series, I hope all 4 top seeds lose, and I can't wait for a Twins Diamondbacks World Series.
Yeah.
And that would,
with your best team sitting at home,
with your best teams in biggest markets sitting at the house.
Yep.
Houston, Baltimore, Atlanta, with all of Braves country in LA.
Yep.
Instead, you're going to get Minnesota
and Arizona,
and Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the dollar signs or lack of get Rob Manfred's attention.
I think that's the only way. So at this point, kind of half rooting for that. The other half's rooting for the Braves to win it all.
Yeah.
Oh, let's take a quick break, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Titan Insider Daily Report coming up in just 1 minute, so stick around.
He shoots, and he scores!
Since 1975, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has treated the orthopedic needs of Middle Tennessee residents. The trained physicians provide surgical options and minimally invasive options to treat all orthopedic needs. The walk-in clinic, OrthoQuick, helps you bypass the ER while treating sports injuries and acute needs Monday through Saturday. Visit MTBJ online at mtbj.net or on social media at Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint Clinic.
It is time for your daily Titans update, brought to you by Terry McCormick. Terry, what's going on?
Well, it is your daily Titans report, and it's brought to you by Zen Sports, which is changing the bonus game for the better. I'll throw it back to you guys and let you just fire away some questions. What do you want to ask about yesterday's debacle in Indianapolis?
Debacle. Pulling a Jim Foster, huh, Terry, and just throwing it open for questions. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it because I was traveling, or fortunately, I didn't get to see it because I was traveling, but clearly the Colts didn't need Jonathan Taylor yesterday.
No, clearly not. When you have Zach Moss running like he did, I think the Titans were expecting to have to contend with Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson, and instead they had to contend with Zach Moss and Gardner Minshew, and the result not what the Titans had hoped it would be. Certainly, the run defense was lacking yesterday. I think Tierre Tart's absence probably had something to do with that. Maybe not everything, but certainly a factor, because you realize what a load he is to contain in the middle. And then, just that allowed a lot of times the Colts lineman. There was one on the 56-yard touchdown run. You could see Quentin Nelson easily get to the second level and just basically block Jack Gibbons out of the play, which freed Moss up. And then the other linebackers and DBs were not in their gaps and off to the races. And then you got red zone problems. That's another area that's normally where the Titans are fairly efficient. They don't get down to the red zone often, but when they do, they usually convert with touchdowns, but not yesterday. Just going 1 of 4 down there inside the Colts 20-yard line. And then, of course, the run game, which is something that they've banked on for years, pretty much ever since Mike Vrabel became the head coach, and even before that, was stifled by the Colts yesterday.
Yeah, and DeForest Buckner is a load in the middle for the Colts, and he was certainly a big factor in that. But I wonder how much of that is because the coaching staff is more concerned with the lack of a successful pass blocking, that maybe blocking for the run has kind of taken a back seat. They've sort of tried to create the offensive line to be more effective as a pass blocking unit than a run blocking unit. And I mean, I don't know if that's an issue. Literally, this is just me throwing this off the top of my head, Terry, but I'm just curious if that has something to do with it.
Well, they did do better in pass protection yesterday, and Tannehill actually was not sacked. He was pressured a few times, had to throw a ball or two away, including that last ball. He was under duress.
He got
when it was
hammered.
picked off. Just kind of a desperation heave there at the end. But overall, I mean, this offensive line, though, the Titans, they're not trying to get away from their identity. They're still built to run the football first and foremost, or at least that's what they hope to be. But Sunday up there at Lucas Oil Stadium, they just really never gained full control of the line of scrimmage, it felt like. You kept thinking, well, at some point, Henry's going to rip off a 12 or 15-yard run and it's going to get things going.
Well,
but really, it was the pass game, and DeAndre Hopkins that was the staple of the offense yesterday. 8 catches for 140 yards. Now, the Titans will welcome that anytime, but they've got to have the necessary balance from the run game. The run game is what predicates everything for them, or should at least, when their identity has been what it's been over the last 4 or 5 years.
Twice, Derek did bust off a couple 12-yard runs, and except Aaron Brewer held on both of them. So that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. When it gets called back because of a penalty, that's a problem, because then not only is it wiping out the big gain, it's putting you behind the sticks to be 1st and 20 or 2nd and 15 or whatever the case may be. And this is not a team that's really built to do that. And this is something that, kind of talking to some people about, and I think they agree, and I'll see if you guys agree on this. The Titans are a team that, if they're playing their A game, and you saw that against Cincinnati, where they're able to run the ball, stop the run, pass effectively off play action. If they're doing those things, they can beat the better teams in the league and hang with them and beat the better teams in the league. The problem is, how often does any team get to put its A game out there on a Sunday? Usually it's your B game or your C game, because something's going to be deficient. There's going to be a turnover. There's going to be penalties. There's going to be, assignments missed, those sorts of things. So are the Titans good enough to win when they don't have their A game? If they have to overcome something, can they? My answer to that right now is no. And here's the reason I say that. When the defense has given up 20 or more points over the last 2 seasons, that's 17 games last year plus 5 now, 22 games. They're 2-9 in those games. And it's a scoring league. You've got to be able to score points. And when the Titans, if the opposing team gets to 20 or 23, 24, pretty much over.
Terry, how is this team so wildly inconsistent?
It's a great question. I think Mike Vrabel's probably looking for the answer to that too, because if someone had told you, Maurice, that you looked at the Titans' first 5 games, and someone had said they'll be 2-3 after these 5 games, would you have said the Chargers and Bengals would have been the teams that they'd beaten?
No. And
the
Bengals by 3 touchdowns.
Yes, but yet they lost to the Saints, lost to Cleveland, and lost to the Colts. So it really, I guess you can divided up as in home and road, but it shouldn't be that much of a disparity, I don't think. So the mistakes that are happening are just killing this team. And when they don't make those mistakes, which it's easier not to make those mistakes at home because you are playing in front of a friendly crowd. But that's not all of it. You know, if you're this Titans team, when they make costly mistakes, they're not able to overcome it. That's basically what it boils down to.
Here's the thing: if this trend does hold up and they go perfect at home and winless on the road, they're still going to be in the mix for the AFC South.
They probably are. You know, I mean, that's a crazy thing to think, but you know, this division is, you know, let's just say they're lucky they're not in a division where there's a Kansas City Chiefs or a San Francisco 49ers or a Philadelphia Eagles to lead the way. They're most fortunate.
You know, I love social media because if Derrick Henry fails to convert on 4th and 1 inside the 10-yard line, well, everybody knew Derrick was going to carry the ball. But if he doesn't carry the ball, you've got Derrick Henry. Why aren't you using him? You know, it's kind of a lose-lose situation. But that being said, you know, it seems like there was some trade-off with these offensive coordinators. It feels like that, you know, Todd Downing teams were really good in the red zone, almost perfect. And Tim Kelly teams, great, you know, outside of the red zone, getting the ball downfield and doing a lot more things that you see in normal NFL games, but has struggled inside the red zone. Is there any chance that this team can make those adjustments and figure it out, or is this a Tim Kelly problem?
Well, I think they have to. I mean, I think, you know, you've seen them get creative down in the red zone. You saw the little flip kind of reverse that Tajay Spears ran in for a score. You saw them nearly pull off Derrick Henry throwing a rollout touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins. That would have been pretty amazing. If that ball is 3 inches shorter, Hopkins is catching it inbounds for a touchdown. You know, and to me, you know, here's what I would have dialed up on that 4th and 1 play. And I'm putting my offensive coordinator hat on. I'm sure no one wants to see that.
Can't be any worse, Terry.
Well, with the hot hand that DeAndre Hopkins had yesterday, I'm thinking about putting the ball in his hands. Throw it up there and see if he can come down with it. You only need a yard, maybe send him into the end zone. You might get 6 out of it.
I was thinking the old Tanny Wheels bootleg. We've not seen that. We've not seen the Tanny Wheels bootleg at all.
Yeah, one play that used to be a staple of this offense, and it goes all the way back to the Steve McNair days, was when you play action and you roll the quarterback out and put the tight end in the flat. A long time ago, it was Frank Wycheck. Steve McNair would have the option to either pump fake and run it in, depending on what the cornerback did, or flip the ball over the defender's head into the tight end's arms. That play is in short yardage situations. That's one of my favorite plays to use because it's virtually unstoppable as long as the offensive line holds the blocks long enough for the quarterback to get the ball away.
Well, and that's a pretty big caveat with this team. That being said, you've got an athletic quarterback like Ryan Tannehill who has shown that he can run the football. I'm struggling with the fact that he's not been asked to run the football at any point. Now, here's the question that I have. You mentioned this 2 weeks ago, and I said you'd get him killed, Terry. As the pass blocking has improved, if this team does not win in London, and you feel like the pass blocking is going to hold up, is it time to put Malik Willis or Will Levis in the backfield and just let it go? See what you got.
Well, I think a lot of it is what we just talked about earlier. How much in the division race are you? If you're 2-4, you're probably not looking at a wild card. But if the division leader is only 3-3, Now, granted, I think the Jaguars and Colts play next week, so somebody's probably going to be 4-2, unless they end in a tie. So you could be 2 games out of the division, and if it's the Colts, technically it would be 3 games out because they've got a game in hand over you. I guess you're still on the cusp, as we talked about, in this division race. But if you come back after the bye and you go 2-5, 2-6, then at that point, here's my thought on it. And I think you have to see what you have in Will Levis. You know what you have somewhat in Malik Willis, even though he's much improved in preseason. He was much improved over last year, but you at least know somewhat of what he is and what he potentially could be. With Levis, you have no idea what he can be because you saw him for half of a preseason game. So at some point, if you fall out of contention, you have to see Will Levis to see if he can potentially be the guy going forward. And if he's not, then you've either got to roll with Malik Willis or you got to go back in the draft next year and look for somebody.
If you fall out of contention being the key caveat there.
Yes.
Because as long as you've got something to play for, you got to go with 17.
Sure, absolutely you do. Because of this, you think about it. Guys like Tannehill himself, like Derrick Henry, like Harold Landry, DeAndre Hopkins, guys who've been in the league for a while, and Kevin Byard, guys who've been in the league for a while. They don't want to hear the word rebuild. They don't want you playing for a top 5 pick on their watch if they can help it. Now, that said, it's up to them to prevent that from happening by winning some games. Simple as that.
That's a heck of a point, Terry.
And this home game across the pond isn't going to be easy.
No, it's not. I didn't get to watch any of the game, but from what I've been told, Lamar Jackson should have probably sued his receivers yesterday for non-support, is what I've been told. That there were all kinds of drops and miscues by the Ravens in that loss to the Steelers. So the one thing that probably helps the Titans a little bit, that might be a little bit of an edge. Of course, they've played Lamar Jackson before. They know what type of player he is. They know how dynamic he can be if he gets into the open field. But the game plan they just had was for Anthony Richardson, who's a similar type of player. So maybe they can use some of that game plan that kind of blew all to pieces yesterday and apply some of it to the Ravens.
All right. This weekend in the NFL was a little goofy, to say the least. But, the Titans now get ready for that trip to London as they'll take on the Ravens. We'll see how everyone holds up with their bodies, as of course we know jet lag and all the things that go along with that. So should be an interesting game. Jacksonville looked good over there, but they're used to it. The Ravens, not so much. Titans played there did the Titans play there last year?
They played there
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Titans not really used to it either. So we'll see. It should be an interesting setup.
All right. You guys want to hear about Zen Sports?
We do, in fact.
Absolutely. All right. Zen Sports is the new sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you earn sports betting rewards. With Zen Sports, your rewards are cash rewards. You bet with real money, and now you're rewarded with it too. Earn a whopping 5% cashback welcome bonus for your first 15 days when you sign up with code MAINSTREET, MAINST. Keep betting and keep earning every month after that with up to 3% cashback rewards on your betting volume. Best of all, earn cash commissions on your referral bets with the Zen Sports Referral Rewards Program. Zen Sports, betting just got better. When gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and older and in Tennessee to bet.
smiles. These are the healthy smiles of real Delta Dental members. Folks with access to the nation's largest network of dentists and low-deductible plans with 100% preventive care coverage, all backed by over 65 years of expertise. Go online or give us a call to learn about affordable individual plans that meet your needs. 1-855-844-0445.
Y'all, I'm serious right now. They have a dragon here. I saw it. Like, no, they don't. There's no such thing as dragons. I swear, I saw it. It had huge claws. Get out of here. It had eyes as big as the moon. Come on, I'll show you. Wait up. Do you hear that? We're almost there. Whoa! I told you so. That is a dragon.
Hey, Mo.
There we go. Yeah.
We are back here on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone, and join Chris Yao and Maurice Patton on this Monday Mirror edition as we are reacting to all of the weekend's sports news. Mo, if you thought that Major League Baseball scheduling was wild, the WNBA doesn't play game 2 until Wednesday after playing game 1 on Sunday. So NBA scheduling there. What do you do on, like, you got 2 days off in Vegas? That's you don't talk about an advantage for Las Vegas players.
Do you have to ask? What do you do? I mean,
I'm just saying, plenty to do.
Well, I guess they figured, I don't know what they figured. I mean, you would have played at best Sunday, Tuesday. So maybe they figured they needed an extra day to recover from Monday night. I don't know. That's odd.
That's interesting.
It is.
Let's get into some rapid fire reaction from the National Football League, Mo, because there are some questions I've got. Question number 1, is Bill Belichick done?
As this roster is currently constructed, it's tough to say no.
I mean, is this his last year? Is he done?
You know, I can see someone who has done what he's done, who's accomplished what he's accomplished, not necessarily having the patience to get this franchise back to doing what it has done. You know, I can certainly see him being done. Yeah. Is he? I don't know. I mean, I think the question is, why would he not be done? Why would you stay?
Why deal with this?
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with this.
I mean,
go to the house.
I don't have anything to prove to anybody. There's nothing more that I can do basically than what I've already done. Anything I do is something I've already done. You know?
Multiple times.
Yeah. All right. The only thing that might be driving Bill Belichick is to prove that he can do it without Tom Brady.
Yep.
In one, that's a slippery slope, because he might just wind up proving more and more that he can't. And it might be best to cut your losses, you know, if that is the thought. But, I mean, again, certainly as they're constructed right now, I don't know that he can. And besides that, again, he's got nothing else to prove. Why?
He's got a good buddy with a nice beach house that he could probably borrow during the season, considering that, you know, he's busy.
You talking about TB12? Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Nick Saban.
Oh. Well, I don't how much longer is Nick Saban going to be busy? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. I feel like, and you know, folks who have been around this type of situation before are saying that it kind of feels the same way. Sort of like, you know, the final years of the Joe Torre era with the Yankees. Just kind of the feeling that they get is sort of the same. So I'll be interested to see if this really is it for Belichick.
I'll be interested to see whether he announces it before the season is over with or once the season is over with.
You heard Justin talk about Jamar Chase earlier, but Joe Burrow looked pretty good. And if Joe Burrow is back, that's scary for the NFL because the Bengals would then be back.
Unless you're the Titans.
Well, you don't have to play them again now, so that helps.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't seem to greatly impact that game a couple of weeks ago. But
again, I still think he was dealing with that injury, and I still think he's probably dealing with it to some degree now. But, you know, obviously, the longer the season goes, the better the injury is going to be, as long as he doesn't re-aggravate it, right?
Yeah, theoretically. Yeah.
So
I mean, that makes sense.
So if that injury is clearly becoming less of an issue, the Bengals,
and he's going to be more of an issue.
He's going to be more of an issue, and the Bengals are going to be scary.
Yeah.
And so you better watch out. Because, I mean, a healthy Joe Burrow is a problem in the National Football League.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. I don't think anybody disagrees with that.
This is a question that some people are asking that I think is a little silly, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
All right.
After yesterday's 42-24 win in Detroit.
Loss.
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Win for Detroit over Carolina.
Yeah,
Folks
I was watching the end of that with a big Lions fan. Yes, let's get that one right.
Yeah, well, I was watching it to see if Josh Reynolds happened to score, and he did. Unfortunately, tight end Sam Laporta did twice, and I was playing against him. But Bryce Young, 3 touchdowns yesterday, 25 of 41, 247, but also had 2 picks.
Okay.
At 0-5, folks asking if Bryce should sit in favor of Andy Dalton.
What folks?
Some Carolina fans saying that this isn't good enough. They were in games with Dalton at quarterback. They had chances to win, according to them. I don't think they had a chance to win this game if Tom Brady were quarterback.
Here's the thing. Where did they draft? Number 3?
Yes. There's a reason for that.
There is a reason they were drafting number 3. There is a reason they took who they took at number 3. I don't know that winning in 2023 is the Carolina Panthers' primary concern. I don't even know if it's their secondary concern. I'm not sure it's their tertiary concern. I don't know that the Carolina Panthers are concerned with winning in 2023. I think their concern is getting Bryce Young better and getting him ready for 24 and 25 and the next 10 years after that.
If Bryce Young is not in danger of being hurt because he's consistently being hit in the backfield and that sort of thing, you play Bryce Young.
Yep.
Period.
Bryce Young needs National Football League snaps. Probably needs snaps more than the Panthers need wins at this moment.
Well, and that's, absolutely. Because at 0-5, your season's pretty well done at this point anyway.
Your season was done before it started.
And to me, it just feels like, and this is what you're seeing with, is Gardner Minshew a better option at quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts than Anthony Richardson if you're trying to win the AFC South?
That's the question. If you're trying to win the AFC South, what is it that you're trying to get done? And that's why what Indianapolis is trying to accomplish and what Carolina is trying to accomplish aren't the same thing.
Well, but here's my question. The question I'm asking is, I think that Gardner Minshew is the better option.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been playing Anthony Richardson. Why? Because winning the AFC South wasn't their goal. Not in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. Same with, I say same with the Texans. The Texans are a little different because the Texans have no quarterback that's capable.
Right.
Behind.
They don't have another option.
Yeah. CJ Stroud is their option. Davis Mills is not going to come in and be a better option to win National Football League games. He just isn't. But there are certain teams, and if it weren't the final year of Derrick Henry's contract and the final year of Ryan Tannehill's contract, I think that's what we'd see in Tennessee. I think you'd see Will Levis today. But you've got Ryan Tannehill, you've got Derrick Henry, and you don't want to force a tank necessarily on those guys. And you just signed Byard and you just signed Jeff Simmons, and you've got a defense you feel like that you can win with. So
I don't know that the Titans situation with their 3rd round draftee at quarterback and the Colts and the Panthers situations with their 1st round
Will Levis was
draftees
a
at
2nd
quarterback.
round draft pick, and Rand Carthen was frantically trying to get him. Rand wanted Will Levis. And if Peter Skoronski hadn't been available, I think we'd have taken Will Levis at 10 or 11, wherever we picked.
Well, thank goodness for Peter Skoronski then.
So this is kind of what I'm saying. What I think my point is that, exactly what you said. The Carolina Panthers don't care if they have 0 in the left column or 8. They don't care. The goal is to be prepared for 25, 26, and 27. Those last 3 years of his rookie contract. And the closer that number on the left-hand side is to 0, the better, because that just means they get better draft picks every time around.
To go around him.
So yeah, I feel like that's kind of where they're at. And as I just mentioned, the Colts are a threat now. I think the Indianapolis Colts are a legitimate threat for the AFC South now.
Somebody's got to be.
If Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor can give you what Zach Moss gave you yesterday, you get Jonathan Taylor eased back in and you don't lose anything because you've got Zach Moss to lean on.
Right.
In addition to the defense that they've got, which is pretty good.
They're in a pretty good situation.
They're in a really good situation in the AFC South. I would not be surprised. It's ironic the first year that the Colts aren't picked to win the division that they might actually win the division. And that's unfortunate because that means that we're probably going to lose to them again. But Gardner Minshew is a capable quarterback in this division.
Emphasis in this division.
I think he's looked really good. All right. You got any questions that you want to throw out there from the National Football League?
I am pretty much questionless, although, I mean, you touched on the Texans, and they almost stole one yesterday in Atlanta before their much maligned quarterback, Desmond Ridder, let them back down the field to get in position for a game-winning field goal that they hit to steal one against the Texans 21-19. I mean,
AAF legend Young Ho Koo.
I'm not sure of the pronunciation, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, he's.
I have no idea if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah.
Now, Desmond Ridder had a great, 28 of 37 for 329 and a touchdown. Of course, you feel like with those numbers, you'd have more than one touchdown, but talk about struggling in the red zone.
Mm-hmm.
They've certainly had their issues, but yeah, if the Texans had been able to do anything but kick field goals, they probably would have won the game. Heck, they kicked 4 in the first half and were leading 12-7.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So
kicking field goals does not win football games in the National Football League. And what did the Titans do yesterday?
Kick field goals.
Kicked a bunch of field goals. 3 of them.
Thank goodness for Nick Folk.
Nick Folk is great. Seriously, great.
Got to get something to go around him.
You can't build around the kicker at this point.
There you go. That's it.
The only way to do that is to get better defensive players than Christian Fulton and Harold Landry. Landry, I just saw one of those. What do you call it? The graphs. I just saw a graph that he is the 5th worst defensive lineman in pass rush win rate because he's an edge rusher or whatever.
Wow.
5th worst of anybody making more than $13 million a year. So there's a lot.
Well, that's a pretty small pool.
It's bigger than you think. This is value wise. So you're looking at a guy that you're paying. Of all the guys getting paid, what he's getting paid,
$13 million or more.
He's the 5th worst and the worst run stopper. He makes a play on run plays less than 2% of the snaps he plays. So either teams aren't running toward him or
that's an interesting statistic.
But
because I don't know how many guys are making $13 million.
It's a lot. And again, you're talking about just defensive linemen and edge rushers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who makes the most money on defenses, are edge rushers. Myles Garrett's included in this type of thing. But when I saw the graph and you see all the people in the middle of the graph, and then you've got Myles Garrett to the far right and real high, and you got Harold Landry at the far bottom and real low, it's like, man, was this just another bad J-Rob signing? Was Harold Landry
it's easy
really
to default to that. Again, I'm listening to you. I'm hearing there's a lot, but are we talking about 60 guys? Are we talking about 20 guys? I don't. If he's the 50, I don't know. That's stats can say a lot.
I'm going to tell you, Jeffrey Simmons is literally right in the middle. Right in the middle. He wins about 7% of the time on runs and wins about 13% of the times on passes. I'm going to tell you there are 30-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And the only people worse are Draymond Jones, Dalvin Tomlinson of the Browns, Hassan Reddick of the Eagles, Chris Jones, and Shaq Barnett is down there. He and Draymond Jones are about tied at 2% win rate for rushing.
You said Chris Jones?
No, Draymond Jones.
No, okay.
Oh, yes, Chris Jones. Yes, Chris Jones is
of the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones
is terrible at stopping the run. Great pass rusher. Can't stop the run. Harold Landry, by far the worst pressure rate for passing, by far. And it's literally not close to anybody else.
It's interesting.
So it is interesting. And it's unfortunate because one of the things, especially with Taylor Tart out, you need guys who can rush the passer. Now, again, he's coming off a knee injury. I'm not gonna base everything off of the first 5 games coming off a knee injury. We saw Ronald Acuna Jr. and you see anybody coming off an ACL, they're a little timid. I get that. But right now we got to have you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right now is the time we got to have you. So let's take a quick break. When we come back, college football reaction. Plenty to talk about. Oklahoma, Texas, Mario Cristobal, Louisville. Plenty to talk about. Stick around. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton, live from the Lee Company studio here as we continue this Monday Mirror and plenty of college football reactions to get to from around the country. We
Hey,
talked
Chris.
about what's up.
Before we get into our college football segment, I just want to read a real quick tweet from the SEC Network at SEC Network, scrolling through Twitter as we are wont to do. Ryan Howard joins Florida coaching staff. Atlanta Dream guard Ron Howard will be joining the Florida women's basketball coaching staff as an assistant coach and director of player personnel. Number 1 overall pick in the 2022 WNBA draft, earned SEC Player of the Year honors twice during her collegiate career at Kentucky, by the way. So, interesting.
So does that mean she's not playing for the Atlanta Dream?
No, I think this means that she will coach during the WNBA offseason. I mean, they don't start till May.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that as long as you're not having to, work during the off season, developing personnel of players and whatnot. I would think that would be something that you'd need to do in the off season rather than during the season. But hey, it's Florida's money. I'm gonna let them spend it however they feel necessary.
And if Ryan Howard can get some of it, so much the better for her.
And I'm going to be honest with you. The fact that Ryan Howard played at Kentucky and is coaching at Florida is like so anti-Tennessee, it just burns me up even more.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost like she does it on purpose. And I'm not mad at her.
I don't think it's her.
I'm not mad at her at all.
I think someone missed the boat early in the recruiting
They missed it. There's no question there.
Process, yeah. So
hey,
anyway.
Justin,
No.
Did you see Travis Kelce's near injury yesterday?
I did not.
He made a catch, turned upfield, and got caught by the turf monster and limped off and was off the field for a while.
Really?
People thought he tore his Achilles. Like it was a serious injury, or it could have been a serious injury. It ended up not being. He was in fact able to shake it off.
Oh, I was wondering if it was coming because there was too much into it. I was like, okay.
No, okay. The first part, the injury part is real.
No, I'm seeing that now. Yeah, I'm looking at that actually.
Okay.
Did not practice today.
Yeah, he really did get injured, but
you went a long way for that one though.
He was able to shake it off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when he's not in there, there's such a blank space in their offense that we really,
Oh no.
Are Oklahoma and Texas both top 5 teams?
Well
hey,
done.
you're the one who brought Taylor Swift up on this show the first time. That's what I'm
3 weeks ago.
Oh goodness. But the jokes weren't as good then. Are Oklahoma and Texas both top 5 teams, or are they both not top 5 teams? What's the prognosis here?
Given this weekend's results, I'd say one is closer to top 5 than the other, but I mean, there are only 5 top 5 teams. And 2 of them are Georgia and Michigan.
Which one is closer?
Based on Saturday, I dare say Oklahoma's closer.
Okay, you
head-to-head means something to me. Call me flawed.
I understand that.
Maybe I oversimplify things. I don't know. But if A beats B, then it seems to me that A is better.
I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm asking you is, if you watch the game, they look pretty damn equal. And if one is top 5, I think both of them are. And I think both of them are top 5 teams.
Okay.
And I can't wait for the Big 12 championship game because I think it's going to be the
But tell me this. Again, how many top 5 teams are there?
There are 5.
Okay. And if Georgia and Michigan are 2 of them.
But why is Michigan one of them?
Oh, okay. Who are your other?
This is what I mean, look, based off what we've seen this year, Michigan may be. I don't know.
Okay. So who are your top 5 teams?
In no particular order.
Who are your top 5 teams? I don't care.
Georgia,
alphabetize them if you want to. I don't care. Who are they?
Georgia, Florida State, Washington, maybe?
Hey, it's your top 5. Georgia,
I'm
Florida
trying- I'm
State,
trying to go
Washington,
through-
Oklahoma, and Texas is your top 5.
I'm trying to go through. Yeah, I mean, I would say they probably are.
Okay.
I think those are the best 5 teams in the country, but I think Washington could be Oregon or whatever. I think there's a lot of the Pac-12 has some issues right now, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think if not top 5, definitely top 6, because there are not 6 teams in the country based off what we've seen this year that are better. Ohio State's probably close, but now that I mean, I don't think Louisville's all that good. So was this a fluke because Sam Hartman's laying points for the Cardinals?
I'm not going to come play for you, but I'm going to do the next best thing. I'm going to lose games to you. Yeah. You know.
I mean, I don't know. So there's a lot of as normal as the SEC week was, the rest of the college football was not
Abnormal.
I mean, USC nearly blowing it to Arizona. Did you
Should
see
have.
Did you see that kick? The potential game-winning kick in regulation?
Oh, yeah.
Where the holder was standing up trying to hold the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
just insane.
They should have lost to Arizona.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Colorado's going to end up making a bowl game because of the win against Arizona State. But I'm not sure that they deserve to win that one. And it's wild to me that the 2 Arizona teams played the way that they played against 2 teams. And maybe it's because maybe there was a hangover with Colorado and USC both, you know, in that very tough, mentally tough game, 10 o'clock in the morning, all the things that go with what they had to deal with. And then playing a really good football game. And then, oh, by the way, we got Arizona State. Maybe we can take an extra day off and relax a little bit and try to come down from that. And then this happens. I don't know. Maybe that's what happened. But USC and Colorado should not be struggling with Arizona State and Arizona, period. Based off what we've seen, right? I mean, historically speaking. So I don't know. And with that, I mean, Texas, obviously Alabama's really good. I think Alabama's much better today than they were when they lost to Texas. But the more Alabama wins, the better Texas looks.
Oh, yeah. Because everybody can fall back home, but they beat Alabama.
On the road. By
All right.
double digits. It's no easy task. Not very many people have done that in the last 15 years. And so, and then Oklahoma dominated the first half of that game. Now, Texas, I think, dominated the second half of the game. I think Steve Sarkisian probably outcoached Brent Venables at halftime. He made a few more adjustments. Of course, it's easier to do when you're behind because you don't know what the other team's going to do. So it's easier to make adjustments when you're losing. We can't do this. We need to do something different. But if you're winning, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. Well, that's not always going to work, Coach. Right. And so, you know.
But here's the thing there. Bobby Johnson called it chasing ghosts. I mean, you can be trying to adjust to things that you never see if you're not careful in that situation. So, I mean, that's what makes halftime adjustments tough when you're winning.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you know they're going to make changes, but you don't know what they're changing, so you don't know how to adjust to the adjustments. So
you got to do that kind of on the fly.
Right.
And so I think Texas dominated that second half. Sans the final drive. Dylan Gabriel looked like that could have been a Heisman moment for Dylan Gabriel. It truly could have. So right now, Texas and Oklahoma are among the best teams in the country. I think Georgia proved that it's got the ability to be. When the lights are brightest, Georgia showed up. When the folks were, or the hounds were out their door saying Georgia's done, Georgia showed up. I don't think there's a game, and this is what Ohio. I have a friend who's a big Ohio State fan, and he said, "I'm not sure what's more frustrating is not knowing whether we're good, as in Ohio State, or not knowing whether Michigan's good."
Yeah,
because we don't know. They've played well against pretty poor competition. They've played well. It's not like they've been struggling against the bad competition. So it's like they must be good. So maybe they are, but we don't know.
because they haven't played anybody.
And that's kind of where we were at with Colorado at one point. They've beaten some pretty bad teams pretty well.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
But I think we did know. I think we did know that Colorado had a ceiling. I think we did know that they weren't playing the toughest competition early on. And I think we did know that, numbers and talent were going to catch up with them when they played Oregon and when they played USC and some of those other folks.
But then they only lost to USC by a touchdown.
But they lost. I mean,
well, I understand that, but they were competitive with the number 8 team in the country. And so I think there's still some questions out there with Colorado. I think there's some questions. I think they could potentially be competitive with anybody, but they could potentially get blown out like they did against Oregon against anybody. So
I don't think they could. I don't think they could get blown out like they did against Oregon against anybody, because I don't think Oregon is anybody. Yeah, I think Oregon is probably a top tier team.
Sure.
So I think they can play with a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Top 15, maybe not. Everybody else, probably so.
Yeah. Well, top 15 in Washington State, number 13 in the country, gets beat by UCLA. And now UCLA has to turn around and they get Oregon State. So, I think the Pac-12's got some. They've got some cannibalization issues right now. They are cannibalizing each other.
Well,
and
now they can see how the SEC lives.
And so it's a really interesting dynamic over there. And then you come over here to the East where, Mo, we'll talk more about this on Wednesday. We don't have enough time to get into it today.
You've talked too much.
Listen to this. It is possible that the ACC could have 3 teams go undefeated in ACC play.
You love to see it, don't you? And none of them be Clemson.
Florida State, North Carolina, and now Louisville could all go undefeated in ACC play.
And none of them plays the other?
That's correct. We'll talk about that on Wednesday and how that all – because that's not unusual with now we've got these major these 16-team conferences. This could happen more often.
And so what? Who goes to your conference championship? Your top 2 ranked teams?
I guess. Because what if they're all 3 undefeated? Like overall undefeated? Then what?
You love to see it.
Try match? I don't know.
There you go. Somebody gets throw them all in a hat and draw them out, and somebody plays a doubleheader. Yeah,
2 quarters each. So anyway, and Miami is just out here giving games away. Yeah. So I mean,
you said Brent Key was going to win one.
I did say Brent Key was going to win one. I didn't think it was going to be that way, but he did. And he covered, and that was really all I cared about. So
he covered and then some. Yeah,
he did. And so this week of college football was an absolute crazy one, which made the AP poll really weird because not much changed.
Yeah,
like it was so crazy that you couldn't really do anything. You were like, okay, maybe this is just a weird week.
It's kind of paralysis by analysis, I think. I mean, how do you fix? So everybody just threw up their hands and said, forget it.
real quick answer. What's more likely? The SEC continues to be normal as we saw this week, or that this week was the anomaly and everything gets back crazy next week?
Ooh. I wish I had next week's schedule in front of me. I could better answer that. I think things might be settling in, though, in the SEC. I think this might have been what we're going to see.
I think so, too, which is unfortunate because that means we're going to get Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship game. Tomorrow, we continue our discussion of the AFC South and the Tennessee Titans with Ben Arthur. He'll join us, as well as Chip Walters ahead of MTSU's game tomorrow night. So come back with us on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll see you at 2 o'clock on Tuesday.